Hello, welcome to Keys to Fun, and thank you for joining us. On this week's program, we're going to be doing something a little different. We had someone reach out to us and ask us about the Lowrey Ez-3. It's called the Cadet model, and it's one of the latest instruments that Lowrey has introduced into their line. And they were not able to find apparently any videos online that gave a bit of a demonstration regarding the Ez-3 and some of the things that it's able to do. So I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to introduce the Ez-3 to you. The video is going to be about 20 to 25 minutes long, and it just gives you a basic demonstration of the capabilities of this great instrument. It would be the entry-level instrument in the Lowrey line that stands on its own. It obviously comes with a bench. And as you'll see, for such a small instrument, it really has some great features on it. So let's go take a look at the Lowrey Ez-3 Cadet. I hope you enjoy it. Something that stuck out to me about the new Lowrey Ez-3 Cadet, right when I unpackaged it, is this red pinstriping that you see along the bench, along the line where the speakers end on the cabinet itself. And then, if you look closely, you'll be able to see this a little bit better when you have a bird's eye view. But they have a piece of felt that runs across the top of the keys, very similar to your nice acoustic pianos. And I really thought that that was a nice touch that they added in. Lowrey, obviously using the color red in their logos, it was nice to see them incorporate that into the Ez-3. Let's now take a look at some of the features. And I think you'll be surprised with how much this instrument is able to do. The Lowrey Ez-3 is the most sophisticated 62-key machine that Lowrey ever made. And there are some upgrades that were made from the Ez-2 which really set this apart. I can see where they would have moved eventually, I'd imagine, to an Ez-5, as well as an Ez-15, replacing the Ez-4 and the Ez-10 respectively, just by looking at some of the sounds and the settings of this Ez-2. Ez-3, I apologize. Now, when you turn it on, you do get a nice piano sound. This is your grand piano. And it is a bit of an enhanced speaker system. Now, just like on the Ez-2, they have included a switch on the left-hand side of your expression pedal, which allow you to either sustain the notes or in some instances, like maybe the country guitar or violin, you can glide some of the notes, and we'll talk about those in just a moment. Now, in terms of differences between the 2 and the 3, one that stuck out to me right off the bat was this orchestra octave section. This was a nice improvement that they made on the 3, because with the 2, if you wanted more than just the 62 keys that you see here, you would have needed to go into the features and select octave and then bring the octave up or down. Whereas now, just like on some of the larger machines, you can change your octave up either 2 or 3 degrees. Or I'm sorry, 2 degrees up or 2 degrees down, I apologize, from the 62 that you have here. So if you're looking for something very deep, maybe you want to play something a little honky-tonk, play something honky-tonk. Whereas if you'd like something higher pitched, you can really get up there. So you have well more than 88 keys without having to sacrifice the space. Now, they have introduced or included some new instruments as well. If I go to the pianos, this button, just like on most of the Ez series, it's a quick way to get to all of your piano options for the most part. So I can see I have my grand piano here. But by scrolling, I have my honky-tonk. I have the octaves piano. I have the society piano. I have the classic electric piano. I have a Wurlitzer piano. A toy piano. A harpsichord. And then I'm back to the grand piano. So I have a grand total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 options on that piano button. Well, the same goes for the guitars. Here's a nice acoustic guitar. The nylon guitar, the jazz guitar. Talking about that foot switch earlier, I'm on the country guitar. There are 8 options under that as well. Things like the Hawaiian guitar, the muted guitar, the rock guitar. Under strings, I have a nice string ensemble. All the way through to violins. The viola. The cello. The mandolin. The banjo. The harp. And then back to the strings. Winds, you can see on the panel here, the picture of a saxophone and the picture of a trumpet. So that you don't make a distinction in the winds. You have your woodwinds, you have your brass, but you have your trumpet here. Your trombone. Muted trumpet. The flugelhorn. The saxophone, the breathy saxophone. The flute. The clarinet. And then you're back to that trumpet. Now where this really gets interesting is in the more section. Now the more section is a catch-all. The more button used to be called Genius, and they've since changed it to more to allow more people to understand what it does. I can remember doing some workshops in the past, and when someone from Lowrey would come in and a student would ask, well, what does the Genius button do? They would say, well, it gives you more sounds. And oftentimes the response from the customer was, why don't they just call it more? Well, they finally figured that out, and that's exactly what they did here. Now here's the difference. You have 8 pianos, 8 guitars, 8 strings, and 8 woodwinds. The more button alone, we're going to count them through together, starting with the accordion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm still in B. These are all alphabetical. These are like a catch-all for things that likely wouldn't be on one of these other buttons. So I'm on 8 here. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, and now I'm back. So there are 32 sounds on this button alone. 8 on the first 4, and an additional 32 here. And there were some really great ones on here. Not only do you have things like the accordion, you have a beautiful choir sound. You have your carillon. You have a nice brass section. Now you might say to yourself, that should be on the woodwinds. Again, they saved 8 spots here, so anything in addition to the 8 would have gone to the more. You have, let me see here, a really nice one for you. More organ sounds in this section. We're going to go over the organs in just a second, but there's even more organ sound under the more button. Here's a nice 60s organ. We have a rock organ, a pan flute, other electric pianos, other saxophones. Here's Guy Lombardo's New Year's saxophone. The pizzicato strings, again, saved 8 spots under strings. This is an additional one. These are the bowed strings, but played in a plucked manner. Okay. All the way through to one of my favorites, the vocals, which if you play them the right way, they can almost sound just like the Andrews Sisters. My organ sounds, what Lowrey's been known for. Here's the nice rich organ. The mellow organ. The full organ. A couple jazz organ sound. Jazz 2. A pipe organ. Now, along with all of these organ sounds, you can turn on or off what we call the vibra-trem. And what the vibra-trem does is it acts as a vibrato tremolo. You can see that it says fast or slow here, where when it's off, it's going to act more in a slow pattern, and when it's on, it would be the fast motion. Very similar to a Leslie speaker. I can leave this pipe organ on, and with that off, it sounds more like the pipe organ you hear in a cathedral. Well, by turning that on, it changes that organ sound to something that you'd be more likely to hear in maybe Radio City Music Hall or somewhere where a Wurlitzer pipe organ might be used. Now, this affects all of your organ sounds. So if you go back to some of those jazz sounds with that off, and obviously back on. So it basically doubles all of the organ sounds that you have. You have a sustain, which will again sustain some of those sounds. Now, you have your easy button still here. Easy button plays all the way up to this B. From here you have a note. From here you have a chord. Now, one of the great things about the easy button is you can play all of your fingers or a minimal amount of your fingers and still get a full chord. So someone that is maybe more accomplished might play 3 notes for a chord. Here's a nice C chord, a G, and an F. Whereas someone that is a beginner may play a C chord with 1 finger, an F with 1 finger, and a G with 1 finger. Your styles, all over here to the left-hand side. But for those of you with a discerning eye, you may have noticed song setup. Song setup was placed on this instrument. First time that a 1-level, entry-level machine had a song set up on it. And there were some great songs in here, some brand new ones. You have things like Yellow Submarine. You have things like The Piano Man. Some more recent rhythm styles. And as you go through these, you may notice that there's Puff the Magic Dragon. You may notice that some of the songs are songs taken from some of the larger instruments. So for example, if I go back down to, if you can see this, She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain, and I hit select. Now for those of you that aren't familiar with song setup, let me give you a bit of a description as to how this button functions and where it came from. How I like to explain the song setup is I say to customers, imagine going into a music store 50 years from now, looking at an instrument that had absolutely no buttons on the panel, but you knew that it was electronic. And you were to say to the person working at that music store, well, how do you go and set this up? And the person working at that store said to you, tell it the name of the song that you'd like to play and it will set itself up. Now, it's not voice activated yet, but it's about as close to that as you can get. Right here on the screen, it says She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain. I'm going to go here and hit select. It knows that's the song that I want to play. And because of that, it gave me How cool is that? I didn't hit any buttons over here. I didn't hit any buttons over here. Now I'm going to choose a different song. 76 trombones, alphabetically the next one in line. I'm going to hit select. It's going to retool itself. What I'm holding down here is a fill button. It fills in the blank. Maybe you are looking to change to another song. One of the great things about the song setup is you're not limited to only playing the song they suggest. I can jump right into another song that is reminiscent of 76 trombones. For example, It's a Small World. A great feature to have. Now I can manually set up my styles over here as well. I have the performer section over here. Now, one thing that they did as an upgrade on the Ez-3 is they've given you 2 full band options when you hit performer. So if I jump up and hit standards, in the screen I can scroll through a few options. When I go to pianist and guitarist, that's all on one button now. I can again scroll through. Some of these styles are great. For example, in the full band, I have a style called cab drivin', which, if you're familiar with the song Cab Driver, this rhythm style was basically designed for. Now, one of the great things about this style, and these were originally introduced on some of the larger Lowrey models, this is more of what we would call a predictable style, meaning it knows that's the song that would likely be played with this beat. Not that you had to, but if you were to, they now know where you're likely to pause. They know where the notes are, but they also know where the pauses are. So watch what happens when I pause. Provided my timing is correct, the instrument actually fills in the blank and almost congratulates me for having good timing by filling in the blank where it knows I'm not playing. Little introduction, take a listen to what I mean. great rhythm style. And again, it makes you sound very professional. If your timing is right, you stop playing and they fill in the blank. Again, that was something that was originally introduced on some of the larger, more expensive equipment that Lowrey made, and it filtered all the way down to the entry-level Ez-3. Now again, choosing different styles. If I go to country, I have things like Roadside Cafe, which again is one of these styles which will fill in the blanks with specific songs. For example, one that works really well with this is King of the Road. Introduction. New rhythm styles in the Latin section. I have one pulled from a larger instrument called Trios Romanticos. One great thing to remember about introductions is you can get seemingly a completely different rhythm if you use a minor chord as opposed to a major chord. Here's a minor for Trios Romanticos. Same rhythm with a major chord. Now, some of the other benefits to an Ez-3 as compared to their closest competitor, I would imagine would probably be a keyboard. Now, obviously, keyboards are much less expensive overall than instruments like the Ez-3, but the benefits are you're at one exact height. The height does not move up or down, and that's an important thing. It comes with a bench that is at the right height as well, so it's a very comfortable position for you to be. It's also always set up. You don't have to worry about getting it out from underneath the bed and finding the plug that goes with it. You put it into a small spot. You need about 3 feet here, and you're ready to go at any point. You can put headphones on. One of the great things that I like that you just saw that I did was I switched very easily to different sounds, where on many keyboards you actually have to dial in numbers to get that same effect. We haven't even scratched the surface with some of the features. There are a lot of features in here that you can choose through as well, including things like the keyboard split and many others. But I'm hoping that this 10 or 15 minutes that we've spent together gives you a little bit of an overview on the Ez-3. And please reach out to me if there's any questions that you have regarding what we went over today. Thanks for joining us today. If you have any questions about the Lowrey Ez-3 that you think we might be able to answer for you, do not hesitate to reach out. You can comment on our YouTube page. You can email us at our website. Our website is keys2funmusic.com, and the email address attached to it is info@keys2funmusic.com. We also have a Facebook page. Just search Keys to Fun Music and Lesson Centers. We do have Lowrey Ez-3s in stock. So if you have any questions regarding the purchase of one, delivery, or anything of that matter, please again, reach out and we'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. We look forward to seeing you again next week. I hope you enjoyed the program today.